All right. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that do well, and salutation to the guys around the world, preaching this word in truth and sincerity, to the four corners of the youth, heralding the coming of Yahushai, and downfall of this wicked kingdom that is ruled by Esau Edom. Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
It's a few brothers from GMS Trinidad here comforted that a lesson, right? Because we could see through all through all the wars, through all the invasions that happen on the face of the earth, right? Which country is basically doing the most? Which country is doing the most unrighteous act, right? And then claiming it to be for the sake the greater good, for the sake of humanity, for the sake of going back into what happened with Saddam Hussein and them, right? Basically, what they was portraying to say that they have weapons of mass destruction, right? And when it all came to pass, it was basically lies, right? They didn't have any, right? Remember the scripture said that basically these wicked heathens, they're strange from the womb, they go forth speaking lies, right? So we have been lied to for so many years, and the people were just ruling with it. People were just going with every single thing they say. Right, they have nuclear bombs here, and they're going to strike at America. Or they might there's a potential target, a potential threat to the society. That we go at them.
Can because they actually when they see interest in a country and whatnot, they don't wanna pay the way. They don't wanna make no deals that unprofitable for them and whatnot. So a easy way is by propaganda. For instance, Afghanistan, Iraq. Hey, look, even recently with Venezuela, you know, yeah, it was you bring great impediment that of a lot of drug trafficking and this is to show this man is the devil. All the time you're balling. Hey, we not on the oil for we not looking at the oil in Venezuela and these things. You just go on there to stop, you know, trafficking narcotics and whatnot. And look where you end up. You know, you end up discovering your true face, your true intention, right? Because this here is what Babylon is about. They use force to get what they want. They use sanctions on nations, to bring fear upon the people and make them feel, all right, if you ain't gonna give me what I want, if you don't want to make a deal with me, well, here what? I'll place sanctions on you. The economy will start to drop and you're gonna come begging to me. Because it's throughout Babylon's history, they builded their city upon blood. Look, for instance, look what they did unto the natives, how they occupied these lands. Even look
Can
at the Louisiana Purchase and all these different areas. How was Babylon able to, from about 13 states to 50 something states? How was that possible? You know?
can
Yeah, hey, Babylon being as the hammer it was described in the book of Isaiah, unto the nations, and hey, the time is coming to an end. So right now the under the actor build Babylon great again, build America greater, build back better. But we know pursuing to the prophecy in Jeremiah um 51, you know, we would have healed Babylon, but she's not healed. So all of these years attempts, as she always do, to move way to place sanctions and use deadly force against nations to get what she wants, right? So this is what we see in here now. She going at that hard again to be able to step back up in the game to revive the, the, the money being backed by the oil. That is what we're seeing taking place right now. So you could We could start off with the mica, and also I have a little something from the AI to play. Okay, go ahead.
I just going to read a little bit of this here, right? Concerning the countries that America have, the US have invaded, right? Right? It have number one, Slovakia. It says the Mexican American War, right? That is when they went and invaded Mexico and basically took, I think it's about half the land, and they brought all these other states, right? Also, to have the Spanish American War, right? When America also went and they took the Philippines, Puerto Rico, all these other, a lot of these different countries that Babylon have taken, as the brother was saying, under her wing by force. That we can bring all the picture in Habakkuk 2 and verse Habakkuk 2, not Habakkuk Slack, I go in Micah first. Micah 2 and verse 1. And then it says, woe to them that divided iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands. Right? And we know that Esau Edom was given, right? Esau Edom was given that sword, that blessing of the sword, and also of the dew of the earth. Right? So these things only face at it is basically their sense. So they're using it to the best of their ability. They're using it to conquer these nations. They're using it also to make it seem that they is the right one at hand, that whatever they're doing is right. Because why? They have control of all of the social media, of the different media form of news. So when they're telling you something, you have no choice but to believe it.
Um,
Verse verse 2, it says they covered fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away, so they oppressed a man and his house, even a man and his heritage.
because that is something that throughout history America is known for, right? That is something through history that America is known for, and it's blatant. No one could say otherwise, right? No one could come and testify against that. Hence, there's also the proof. With all these unwalled villages, all these different states that they occupied, and it was all through war, right? Look, for instance, the war with Hiroshima and Nagasaki, going back into the scripture in Revelation that it said that the calls fire to fall from heaven,
Yeah.
and in the sight of men and all gone, a lot, it brought fear unto all these nations. That is why America is known as one of the world hegemony, one of the world superpower, right? Yeah, yeah, I'm on that precept. That was
Slack me, eh?
I say I'm on that precept. That was that.
Nah, actually, slack.
All right, okay. You had more information to bring out.
I will leave it as that.
All right,
This is
can.
it's a good bit. So we really go down into too much.
All right. So this is the book of Sirach 21 and 8. It says, he that buildeth his house with other men's money is like one that gathered himself stones for the tomb of his burial. Right? And this is what Babylon have been doing for the longest while. Hey, look, for instance, for these sanctions that he started imposing on these nations so that more money would be able to come towards him, and the US dollar would be used more, because we see that a lot of these nations, they're trying to get around the US dollar. For instance, the BRICS alliance and these things, because they set up the US dollar as the world reserve currency, whereby majority of all stuff is to be traded to the US dollar, right? But these nations now, China, Russia, these other superpowers is coming up with means to use the, the um the US dollar, yes, less. That's why you're seeing things like gold and these precious metals actually the price going higher and higher and higher, right? So that's why you see the Babylon, they're trying to make a breakthrough right now. One of the attempt was when they get hold of Venezuela's oil to be able to sell and make a profit off it, right? These moves that they're making is basically to try and restore because we know concerning Habakkuk with that thick clay they laden in heavy depths, right? They laden in Babylon owes trillions of dollars in debt, right? I think it's 30 something trillion dollars was basically the debt marker, the amount they owe, right? And the dollar has been losing its value because it is a fiat currency, right? So the next objective for them is what? The control of Iran's oil, because from the whole earth, the most more or less I would use the word the best oil, which it uses for all purpose uses, would be from Iran and Venezuela throughout the earth with the mass amount of oil that fuels the earth comes from Iran and comes from Venezuela. That is why, hey, when they took Maduro and what was Trump's remark? That Maduro say, well, hey, he gave up and he allowing Trump now to take control of the resources because that is the aim, right? Though that is why, yeah, you could bring out the Habakkuk, right? The Habakkuk 2, chapter 2. Yeah. Because they're considering the same source, it, as you see, the building their house with other men's money. Because it's unjust that what they are doing, taking other nation resources and taking the maximum profit off of these things after they sell it upon the market. You know, you have the preset there.
Just the backup we was seeing earlier on, right? I end up searching it, right? And this is what came up here, right? Seen it there?
No, I ain't seen it. No, you could just bring out the information. You hearing me? It's like you're breaking up. I'm not hearing you right now.
I'm
I say you're
gonna
breaking up.
add
We're
the
not hearing. We're not hearing you clearly.
ads and I'm win. So okay. You bet me back.
All right. For the time being, I'll bring out the book of Habakkuk chapter 2 and verses at 5. It say, yea, also because he transgressed by wine, and we know, hey, this wine is this man's democracy, and his way of life and these things is his wine. He is a proud man, neither keep it at home. That is why you see, for example, this man, he's in the affair with Ukraine and Russia war. He's in the between the China and Taiwan war. He's he's in the Israel and is Iran war, the Israel and Palestine war. And when you hear the remarks, you know, he don't keep at home. Yeah, and that is why he extends his military throughout the world. America has the most amount of military bases in countries around the world. The most. Right? Yeah. It says, who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death. Because death follows this man. Right? For instance, all these different wars, you know, with Babylon the Great, and the end all be all is they getting what they wanted to get done. Even as this from 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 Gemini to play because it going into more or less how the US established the infrastructure and whatnot into countries and whatnot far more for China. And there's two different approach, right?
It's
It's a
a
common
cover, yeah.
observation that China and the US use very different toolkits to build global influence. While it's an oversimplification to say it's only low US military, those are indeed the signature moves for each superpower right now. Here is a breakdown of how these two approaches actually move and the risks they carry. China, infrastructure first approach. China's strategy, most visible in the Belt and Road Initiative,
You hearing
BRI,
right?
is built on providing massive capital to developing nations that are often ignored by Western banks.
Done.
Primary low interest but often opaque loans for ports, railways, and power plants. The no string. Unlike the US or the IMF, China generally doesn't demand democratic reforms or human rights improvements. They focus on business is business. The goal, to create a Sino-centric trade network. If China builds the port in your country, it's much easier for Chinese goods to flow in and your resources to flow out to Beijing. The risk, debt trap diplomacy. Critics argue that when countries can't pay back the loans, China gains leverage. A famous example is Sri Lanka's Hambantota port, where the government eventually leased the port to China for 99 years to settle its debt.
Yeah, and this here basically a mean where China uses, especially when a country cannot pay back because it's far more easier going to China to get a loan than going to America to the US to get a loan, you know? Yeah. And it's less consequences. Listen more.
America, the security and standards approach. The US strategy relies heavily on its status as the world's primary security provider and its control over the global financial system. Primary tool. Security alliances, military aid, and trade agreements tied to rules-based standards, like labor laws and environmental protections. The safety net, the US, provides a security umbrella, e.g., protecting shipping lanes in the South China Sea, that allows global trade to happen in the first place. The goal, to maintain a global system where the US dollar is the reserve currency and trade follows Western legal standards. The risk, interventionism. Critics argue the US uses its military and sanctions to force countries to align with its interests. If a country moves against US trade goals, it might face economic decoupling, sanctions, or in extreme historical cases, military intervention.
Because
Comparison at a glance.
this here is how Babylon actually is able to get a lot of what they want done. For instance, for Greenland, right? What they say, is either you, you basically conform to what we presenting unto you, or it would be otherwise. Even with Iran, he said, well, hey, you ought to make a trade with us, And if you don't want to make a trade, you're gonna have to lead to other, resolution. And we know you're talking about military might there, right? And we see many times that Babylon they place sanctions on countries that not wanna abide by their rule, right? Because that is their force that they impeach upon the people, right? And they flex the military might. They had something to bring out there,
Well,
Brandon.
slack about that one there technical difficulties. But yeah, as the brother was basically saying here, that is what that was going with these heathens on them, right? They're using they're using the sword, which is the military might. They're using it to instill fear into these other nations, right? But I was just going to bring out just the backup we was saying with that one also is 38 trillion in debt. And concerning we were speaking about earlier one, I tried to get to share on the live what movie with these devices, I should say. But yeah, right. And back to what I was saying, it was 70. And who so it's Venezuela, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and these are the countries that America will need, Babylon will need to go forth to using the oil for if it's for the planes, if it's for the warships, if it's for the submarines, these things they need, right? The same thing going on with because I did that video on it a while back. The same thing going on with Greenland right now. There's a lot of untapped materials that these heathens need to go to as I say to bolster the golden dome to make the golden dome, right? Because what they're trying to do, they're trying to make America great again, and we all know what that means. That means that basically means to pin checks to how it was before. That way they want to be supreme. These heathens and them doesn't like what's going on with the S files right now, the P files right now, to be exposed. No, they doesn't like these things. They want to be always high on top. But as the scriptures say, right? The scriptures say that the Lord is going to bring them down. Scriptures say also that the Lord is going to reveal, right? We going to lift up the skirts, right? To show the nations the shame, show the nations all the transgression, right? And that is what bolstering these other nations to come against them. You did finish the Habakkuk 2 act?
No, I didn't finish it.
Finish it now, Wakasha.
Can continuing Habakkuk 2 and 5, it say, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And when you go down into that thick clay, it goes into heavy depths, right? Yeah, destruction to him that increaseth with things that is not his, right? I had to jump down here in verses like uh, 8, right? As it says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. Because this year, for the longest while, Babylon has been the bully of the earth. They still are, and the time coming on these nations going to turn around because pursuant to the Revelation 17, it's 18. We talk about they're going and hate thee and burn out fire, right? The Jeremiah and all speaks of, these nations, the mad, this because of the moves, look at it. The, I think it was the US leaving the as NATO, they left. They left NATO Hey, they even place sanctions on certain of their own allies. All these moves that Babylon is making, these nations realizing that Babylon is all about herself.
That's
It's
right.
a because God, it's a because of men's blood and for the violence of the land and of the city and of all that dwell therein. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high. Because that is what it is. He don't really business about you nations because it's all about bringing for him and establishing and building himself up. That's what it is about. He's gonna make America great again. And when you go through, I saw the do an interview from Trump long ago when Trump was young. Yeah, but brother, one of the elders did a video on it, showing you the mindset from young Donald Trump, had about he didn't like it how America granting security onto a lot of these other nations like Japan and these other nations for free, like no set of profit. So he thought up about if so he had to set sanctions on them, and it's all about bringing in the profits into America economy, right? Let's say that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. For the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establisheth the city by iniquity. And that is what they're doing. And they're going to continue to do it until the
Con.
Lord takes them out. Because Babylon the Great have never been satisfied, you know, they would never be satisfied. You had something else
Yeah,
to bring out?
yeah, that's exactly what it said. Jumping back into the Habakkuk too. That's exactly what it said, right? They never satisfied, right? Concerning back into verse 6, it says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, a taunting parable, a taunting proverb against him, right? Going down into the taunting proverb, right? It says, a taunting proverb is a saying, a form or age used specifically to mock, ridicule, provoke, or demean someone, right? So basically, these heathens on them, what going on right now, right? They hating the war, right? They hating because why? All these other nations on them realizing how America have taken advantage of them, and the guy up arms now. What the scripture is speaking about the weak. The scripture speak about the weak saying they are strong. These other nations on them, right? Beating the plowshares into swords and the putting into spears, right? It says it says, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. Think about it. It continues stealing from this one, stealing from that one. The ones of them who is stole for, they wouldn't rise up. Is only necessary, is only logical. That if you continue doing this unto the people, right, being like like tyranny, right? Like you say, how these kings, I should say, I can say nation, how these kings who go back into the elites, going back into so them the so-called white man, basically running America right now, how they rule any place right now, the people them going to hate it. It's only obvious, it's only logical, right? Going back in the piece of page, Jeremiah 50 and verse 23, and it says, how is the hammer of the earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Right? How is this going to happen? Because a lot of people saying, hey, America is not going to be destroyed with thermonuclear fire. The world is the world's greatest superpower. Right? Nobody can destroy America. It don't matter if all, because I was watching YouTube today and there was I saw a video, I didn't watch it. I just read the caption. It said how all the countries of the world cannot beat America in basically in war, right? But we know that's a lie because the scriptures speak otherwise. The scriptures specifically said that these other nations are going to rise up, right? And why they gonna rise up there so far? Because the Lord put it in the heart, put it in the mind for the star upon. And the Lord is the author and the finisher. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is the one who putting all the pieces in this chessboard together. As it say here in Jeremiah 50 and 24, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware, thou art found and also caught because thou hast striven against the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, right? How these nations and them, as they was saying earlier, 1 or 2 years, see, these nations and them basically, not the nations, my bad, Salah. America basically dig their own grave, right? That was Iraq 20 is 25, 27, maybe my book, sir. 27, 25.
Can because
Right,
this
25.
oh can but
Can, right? So what they did, because they basically make their own enemies through the lives through the lifestyle of I'm gonna say lifestyle, but through the way that they go for things, like as he was bringing out earlier on, how they establish communication with other nations, how they establish trade and congress with other nations, right? They do it bad. They basically they're making their own enemy. Want something, they do it by force, military might, military power, sanctions. If they don't go according to the rules or the deals or the laws that America set forth, that these wicked heathens set forth, bam, your whole economy drop. Which was the same thing with Venezuela right now. They didn't Hugo Chavez, the past president, they didn't go forth to the deeds that America wanted. To the things that the demands, I should say, because I can't say that deal is basically come like a demand because that is wickedness, right?
can
They didn't
because
go forward with
for
it.
example, so for example, hey, look at when they invaded Afghanistan and they bring forth about information concerning hey there was Taliban and certain influence of the Taliban and how they govern in the country and these things that the author go in there and get rid of or was demanding Bin Laden in
Can,
Afghanistan that they bring up that leader because they had certain um um disagreements and whatnot. So they wanted to get rid of the Al Qaeda group and remove the Taliban from power, right? So they're saying that Afghanistan would no longer be a haven for terrorists. But we know the true goal was what? The attack for the lithium. Because Afghanistan was highly enriched with lithium, with copper, with gold, you know? Yeah, we know that is the reason why, and also to impact the basically the trade lever with passing the pipelines, the taffy pipelines, and these things would have wanted to maintain a certain high price uh, um, uh, for the energy prices to remain at a certain level, right? And same thing in Iraq. They wanted to set up pro-Western democracy. People that they know would be able to govern things for the all the benefit of America. So that's what it's all about. So they came up with a whole settings like the whole Saddam Hussein and all these different things to basically get them that okay, well, hey, we could invade them. You
can.
know, we are all right to go in and execute, right?
I'm
So
not.
it
Also
even
to good.
yeah, because and next reason why in Iraq is that Saddam Hussein he began to move and sell Iraqi oil in euros instead of US dollar. So that was a big loss to the impact of the US dollar being backed by the oil. So
Can
America stepped in. They stepped in to took him out, and set up the pro-Western democracy, personnel. So all the interest would be for the more or less the betterment of Babylon, America. You know, you can go ahead and say it.
we are concerning we were saying earlier on. I was watching a video. What the person was saying is basically they was tying it to the real reasons why America invade these countries, right? Because a lot of these countries put off the US dollar, right, and basically started trading in other things, right? And Babylon not on that. Even even now, as we could see, you were speaking about earlier on the situation in Iran right now, right? Babylon will want them to will have certain demands, and basically these leader nations in not on that. They don't want to be weak, right? Going back into the one to the I believe is a nuclear deal, right? So these nations and them not on that because we know who Iran is, right? That is basically going back to one of the strong nations, them back in the Bible back then, right? And we know as the scriptures say, and they know also that these other nations can come back up to fight against America, aka Babylon, but they don't want that. I did a research also on the resources that Iran is rich in, and it says here. Wait, no, Marcus. Nunca me was slack. Yeah, can continuing. It says Iran is a country of immense strategic and historical value. Its wealth can be characterized no yeah can into three main areas: energy, minerals, and culture. Right. So the rich in where natural resources. It says crude oil. It says total energy by crude oil. It also says mineral wealth, the hidden economy. It says beyond oil, Iran sits on an estimated 27 trillion worth of natural resources. And we know these natural resources could be used to make many different things, right? Because we know that how your smartphones are being made, how your laptops are being made, how your smart devices are being made, how nuclear warheads are being made. A lot of these things is the minerals from the earth they need to make these things, right? So America basically summing it up as right. They're gonna need this country here for the military might. So hey, let me demonize them. Like we say, right? They have weapons of um they are the one that might want to shoot it against us. And the world will believe them. The world will believe them
Can
because as the scriptures say
can
that is how they come. So that go that
can yeah, as you mentioned that because the the proposal that America wants is that Iran to stop being involved in certain what is it called uranium enrichment, right? And they want them to take all this stockpile and ship them out. They don't want them being involved with that. But Iran rejecting that, you know. And so they come up with propaganda that Iran, equipping, Hamas and Hezbollah and all these different terrorist group with weapons and these things. So we know Babylon, and the propaganda to be able to get what they want done, you know.
Kang. This is book of
So,
Psalm chapter 58 and verse 3, and it says, the wicked is estranged from the womb. They go they go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Right? And that is how the win across the hearts of the people, right? That is how the win across the hearts of the people basically a mind, right? So you thinking that what they're saying on the news is that is the correct thing. Yeah, America not gonna do nothing bad to people, and they gonna paint this picture as we always say they proclaim themselves to be white, where we know they're not white, they're basically red, and we know white is basically what purity, white is basically good. So but they portray themselves to be as the white men. They be portraying themselves to be as the one who always right, the ones who doing it for the betterment of society, for the betterment of the human race. That what they basically portray themselves to be, and the people around the world will believe them because they're in control of all these medias.
Can that is why the people believe America is the greatest on the face of the earth.
Can
You know?
it says verse 4, it says the poison is like the poison of a serpent, they are like a deaf adder that scoopeth her ear, which will yeah, which will not hearken to the voice of charmers, charming never so wisely. It says verse 6, it says, break their teeth of power, in their mouth break out the great teeth of the young lions, O Lord. Right?
Can
And that is
and that
exactly
teeth,
what
yeah, that teeth, break the teeth, the military might and the power,
I
right?
can.
And that is gonna be broken soon by nuclear missile. You know?
That's right.
Yeah. You can go ahead.
Right? It also that also tying up into the Jeremiah 49. Right, Jeremiah 49. Let me get quick. Right, can Jeremiah 49. I believe it was 11. Nice. Jeremiah 49 and verse. Something verse 7 going on in it. It says concerning Edom, thus say the Lord of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perish from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanish? Right? As we can see, the the grip, the stronghold, the whole that America had on the world, it loosening, right? It loosening, it getting weaker and weaker. And some other countries, I mean, they don't have no grip on them because when I say grip, I mean in the fear tactic, where these other nations will fear America because of a military might. No, this is loosening, right? And these countries, them
Can
they had no fear for Babylon again.
because why? Pursuing to the prophecy in Joel, you know, where the weak nations are staying, they are strong because a lot of these other nations they actually making nuclear breakthroughs and they're being aided by the great God, you know, which is
Can,
Gog and Magog, Russia. You know, that's
can,
why a lot of them go into alliances with these other superpowers. You know? Yeah, okay, good.
continue with 8, it says, flee, turn back, dwell, yes, like a flee, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. Verse 9, it says, if grape gatherers come to thee, would they not leave some gleaning grapes? If thieves by night, they will destroy till they have enough. But I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered her secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not. Verse 11, leave thy fatherless children. I will preserve them alive, and let thy windows trust in me. For thus saith the Lord, behold, whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have I surely drunken, and thou art okay, and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. right? So these wicked heathens and them, as the scripture say in Revelation, he had leaded into captivity, must go into captivity, right? So the actions that they have made, it have a consequence to it, right? Whatever wickedness they did in this timing and in these wicked heathens past life, you're gonna have to pay for it. And the Lord is not no if no but no maybe. That way he say if if all his people right drink of your cup, where if he going to happen? The scripture say they can surely drink, right? And they can spew out and they can fall. Right? So when that time come, hopefully we part of the elect, right? We'll be able to dish out as it say in second Thessalonians. Second Thessalonians 1:6, I believe, right? Surely is a righteous thing to recompense tribulation on them that trouble us.
And you read the part, that talk about his neighbors being spoiled and he is not,
Come,
and because you're placing sanctions, you're being a tyrant unto your allies, and hey, that time is coming to an end. This is Revelation 16 and 17 and 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn out fire, because these nations fed up being a spoil, fed up being spoiled by you,
come,
fed up advantaged on by you, you know. Yeah, these nations are fed up by high demands and whatnot. Um, let's see here. This is the book of Isaiah 33 and 1. It said, woe to thee that spoileth, and thou was not spoiled. Because
come,
Babylon doing all this spoiling right now. From in our youth, Babylon as America has been that is all she knows. And dealeth treacherously. Yeah, because they greatly known for breaking the agreements, the treaties and whatnot. And they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. Right? That's why the scripture say, they that are confederate to thee. All
come.
those who have their alliances with and whatnot. Hey, they gonna turn on you. I'll bring it out in the book of Obadiah, chapter 1. And let's see here, verses 7. It said, oh, and all the men of thy confederacy, right, have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. Even your NATO allies, they gonna turn against you in that time and prevail against the day that eat thy bread. So all these nations, your allies that making trade with you, taking being merchants and whatnot, they gonna know what it say have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding him. So they set themselves in that time gonna start sending missiles upon you. Verses
That's it.
7 in the NLT. All your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you and you won't even know about it. Yeah, yeah. You have anything else more to bring up?
I just want to finish up in the
Uh,
Psalms 58, right? Psalm 58 and verse 6, it says, break their teeth with power, in their mouth break out the great teeth of the young lions. O Lord, let them melt away as waters which runneth continually. When he bendeth his bow to shoot his arrows, let them be as cut in pieces, right? And we know what these arrows go back into, right? These ICBMs, these missiles, these weapons, these are the weapons of mass destruction that they proclaim that they had in is Afghanistan, right? These is this is the weapons of mass destruction that they have. But as soon as another nation have it, they didn't like that. As soon as another nation getting, as they now say, nuclear breakthroughs, they don't like that because why? They seen another threat, right? Because these heathens, these elites, right? They know about the prophecies. They know this is about to happen because going back into history, they know who the power of Israel is. Why the scripture say that the ones about the mighty man tremble or something so? I think it was in Isaiah. Was Isaiah
Uh,
13 or something? Right? Basically that when they see forth the prophets coming up on the face of the earth, preaching the destruction of America, aka Babylon, right? And the coming back of Yahushua Mashiach, right? They know that the time is up. They know that the downfall is near, right?
and they talk about lift up a banner.
Can,
That is
can,
yeah, can that is the 13 side.
can. So when oh yeah, so me going get into the gates of the nobles. Nice, nice. I don't remember. Can.
Yeah.
Right? So when they hear these things, they're frightened. When they hear us bringing for these scriptures, they're frightened. Because they know who the power of Israel is. It's just as the scripture say, Jake, these wicked Jakes, they don't want to do believe. I'll finish up
Uh,
here. It says, let them be as cut in pieces as a snail which melted, let every one of them pass away like an untimely birth of a woman, that they may not see the sun. And this is what going to happen, right? When the people speak about the ICBM bombs, how they gonna melt the eyes of the eyeballs gonna melt because these things. I think I can't remember where it is a while back. I think it was 3 years back. I think I did some research on how hot a nuclear bomb is burn, and they estimated to a certain a good bit amount of time hotter than the sun, right? So let's think about it. The earth is gonna be scorched. The scripture speak about America gonna be burning for a good while, and that is 200 million. That is a lot. That is a lot. So the Lord, as the scripture say, he have a nation for these wicked heathens on it. Righteous in the nation, I should say also.
you
Everything
finish.
you Jacob?
Right, I have something here. And the answer I think is yeah, yeah is millions of degrees hotter than the sun. Nuclear.
Can,
Yeah. It's let's say generate well different type of nuclear missile, but some generates like 100 million degrees Celsius. You know, um,
can,
yeah, that's real. That is why Putin he made a statement about hey they have thing that would make even concrete melt in America. You know,
hmm,
but this year took a look out here the book of Jeremiah 51. And verses I'll start at 7. Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Pro-Western democracy and these things, because hey, when they see a country, have great resources and they can benefit of it, hey, they look to invade and place their own, westernized groups in the governing counterpart so it would all benefit Babylon. And hey, for Iran currently this Cold War, I would say that is going on between Babylon and America and Iran is why. Because they don't want that oil power. They don't want Iran trading oil for euros, whereby the US dollar it would lose value because backed by oil, right? So they ain't want that happening. That was the first reason why they get rid of, I think it was Saddam Hussein, right? Yeah, because they wanted to come out and start to make great profits off of their own oil, but Babylon didn't want that, you know? Yeah, so now they even want them, they don't want that because if they have nuclear missiles, it would be hard for them to, it would come as they stepping in as a superpower. And it would be hard for Babylon to, to, to lay its influence upon them, right? Without it extending into a cold out war. So it says, the nations have drunken of a wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. However, take balm for pain is so she may be healed. You would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country, for judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted even to the skies.
Other brothers came over different walks of life, other brothers out of different religions and stuff. Me like myself was
Yeah, right, as I say, So Babylon, yeah, right, you can't be talking at the same time. It says
Chill
that, it says that, yeah, we would have healed Babylon because right now, all these moves Babylon is making is to heal itself, bring back up the economy, you know, to that great standard again and even better. But we know what their utter end is concerning the prophecies. You know, in 1 hour she end is gonna come via them nuclear missiles. So hey, we hope that this lesson was edifying. We like to say all praises to Yahweh, Basham, Shai, Shem Shashmash, double honors unto the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Salutation to Akim pushing the word in sincerity and truth. Until the next shalom.
Shalom.